Hey you guys, this is Koi from Ray of Gratitude, giving a peace of mind to that one person at a time. I just love saying that because in my mind, I know at least one person is going to resonate with this. I hope this helps more than just one, but I've done my job. I feel like I did my job and when at least one person resonates. So with that said, please like and comment below if these things resonate. So who am I, right? Well, first off, let me tell you what this is about. I'm doing just an intuitive message with some cards just to give a message on what your creative block is. What is blocking your creativity? What is stopping you from moving forward and finishing your projects? I don't know. This is a common theme. This is something that I love to do to help other people because I've had numerous blocks. Sometimes I still feel, that like, am I being blocked? But there's other techniques that I've learned through a lot of things that, I picked up on and just learning about energy and intuition and just understanding myself more, being more reflective and self-aware of myself. There's always something that deep down inside a nerve may be pinched and makes that limb go numb, right? So with that being said, I was saying, did I say already? I do help creative people. I help them find the creative niche. If not, if they already know what their creativity is, I help them expand that. Because again, the main message of this video is to remove blocks and that stagnant energy, right? So without further ado, you can look at all those links below, but let's get into it. So with you tapping into your intuition, you can pick pile 1, pile 2, or pile 3. You can listen to the whole thing. You can pick 2, if not 1, or all of them. But just center yourself by just closing your eyes, taking a few slow, deep breaths in, and then exhale out. I'd say do it 3 times. If you don't feel that calm, do a little bit more. And then go with your intuition. If you're interested in, if you like your eye just is drawn to one, I'd say pick that one. That's using your instincts a little bit more, but either or, instincts, intuition, they're very hand in hand. So enough of me talking, let's get into this message, right? Let's start with number 1. Okay, I'm just going to lay the cards out first. Oh, number 1 actually got 3 instead of 2, so let's see. This is very interesting. So we have the Fool card here first, which definitely starts about new beginnings. And to me, whoever picked number 1, it's like you guys are very happy-go-lucky, ready to start new projects, get all into it, but you don't really think about anything coming in between. Like, you don't really think about how there could be disappointments or how there could be, some miscommunication with something going on here. This kind of feels kind of like, I don't know. For some reason, this feels like paying attention to other people. Because we actually have a disappointment here, right? With the Fool card here, it's like you're very hopeful for, new starts. But for some reason, like, communication gets misconstrued. And then you wind up being disappointed and feeling like, feeling like your cups are sinking and you don't have them, right? What is this though? I kind of feel like that what blocks you from, finishing your projects, what blocks you from even starting your creativity is because you don't have a clear path. Like, you don't have set goals. You're just happy to start new things. And then it's like, oh, yay, let's do this. I can't wait. And then all of a sudden, when things get tough, when things don't go right, then it's like, fuck it. Let's chuck it and try something new. Or this could even be with communicating to yourself in a negative way. Even with it being upright, it's still telling me that I just feel like this is something about disappointments. This clearly says right here on disappointments. I know you can't really see this, but I think sometimes there's a deeper block with any creativity. There's usually a deeper block that hinders us, and it really has nothing to do with what you're creating at all. It has everything to do with what was created around you and your thoughts and your emotions. And I think that this is something about disappointments, because right here with these cards, my Mantra Maven cards, it says, I keep saying Mantra Maven cards. I guess I'm going to have to make that. But it says, become more aware of what's worth your energy. Sometimes when you start a new project, you may think of everything that you need to do and plan it all out. And then when you have one hiccup, then you think it's a disaster. And it really isn't. You just never see it through because, I don't know, it's like this fear of disappointment, this fear of failure, and, like letting others down, letting yourself down. But with this card here saying be aware of what's worth your energy, like, was that hiccup really worth pouting over? Was that hiccup really worth spending so much time on feeling down and out because that disappointment happened, that you didn't see your goals to the end goal? Like, was it really? Because it says, see your seeds grow right here. And I don't think you see your seeds grow at all because you're not being more aware of your own energy. You're not being more aware of what's best to give your energy to. Again, if somebody's bothering you and not adding to the table, why are you giving all your energy into that by cursing them out and then being drained or feeling bad that you cursed them out? If, even a family emergency or anything, like if something that is bothering you, you must check your emotions first and be like, all right, is this really worth giving into this whack energy, or can I build the strength, refocus, and keep going down that road no matter what, and moving with force and focus to see the end goal met? I really think that is what is blocking your creativity, is being so caught up in the idea of what it's supposed to be. And then once you get into the thick of it, it's like, damn, I didn't think it was going to be like this. Okay. But you have the power to actually turn your own energy around. You may not be able to control what's going on around you, but you are allowed to control, how you react to things, how you feel about things, and how you get back up if you do fall down. I really think that is. So the key message really here is to be more aware of what's worth your energy. Focus on seeing everything through. And once you're done with that, have gratitude and feel happy about you starting something and finishing it. Because I think that whoever picked number 1, I feel that you guys really start things because it's a thrill. It's something that feels good. And then once you get into the thick of things, it's just like, It's like you're used to the thrill of starting new things, but you're never used to the that thrill. You're not used to that feeling of love and gratitude and gratification of finishing things. So don't give up on yourself. I was just watching a movie and this lady was saying, like, this guy actually had writer's block because he had a lot of things going on. He was stuck um, in a whack place. Like, his wife left him, and um, he was thinking about how his mom died, and then he had to go back to his dad's house that never even spoke about his mom anymore and just told these whack jokes. But I think the bigger lesson to that movie was that it was called what was it called? Something about humor. But basically it was like to have fun still. And this girl said, like, you gave up on yourself. And that's something that we can do when we're surrounded by sadness and just whack energy, or just not used to moving forward because maybe you've been so disappointed in your life. So I ask you, if this really resonates with you, what really, if you can think back to your first disappointment, like, how did you feel? And looking back at it from being who you are now, at the age of you are now, like, what would you have done at the age of who you are now? What would you have done back then? Like, I'm sure you would have acted a little bit differently. I'm just saying. Something to think about, But yeah, most definitely be more aware of what's worth your energy, because when you can focus on your own energy and, again, focus on getting back up, not sitting there and sulking, then you'll be able to see your goals through and see your seeds grow. See those seeds planted. All right. Thank you guys so much for number 1. Check out below. Please comment if this resonates with you. And check out my Patreon, because I'm talking about seeing my progression of new projects, seeing that to the end goal, most definitely. How to trust yourself and be more in tune with your intuition, and how to, direct that energy that you have within yourself more creatively. All right? So check me out, like, share, whatever you want to do. Subscribe if you definitely want to see more. Check my Patreon page out. And yeah, I'm going to move over to number 2. All right, number 2. For my number 2s, let's see. All right. So I am picking up on some more emotions. This is a lot of suppressed energy. And a lot of suppressed energy from the past. So we have these 2 cards here, which taps into the intuition, but like, you have a lot of creative ideas and a lot of energy, a lot of emotional, you may be very sensitive, but somewhat like a empathic soul, what they call empaths or whatnot. But I think what's keeping you stuck, especially creatively, is because something happened in your childhood days. Yes, we're going back to childhood. Something happened in your childhood days, something reminiscent of the past that is making you feel stuck. And I don't know if you know it, and if you do know it, you still can't get over it. But with this card right here, it says you cannot heal in the same environment you got sick in. I mean, I think that's self-explanatory, right? Why would you want to go back to the same place that in the same energy and same environment that made you feel really crappy. It's almost like you're putting yourself back in the same place and energy, space and time, as almost like a punishment. Like, are you trying to recreate something that was from childhood and you can't recreate it? It's like this pile number 2 is almost like you can't give up. Like, you don't know when to give up and when to stop and when to start new. This one says the drum, which is dream and journey. And I just kind of feel like you lost direction. You're letting some type of illusion keep you in this standstill energy, in this space and time, and thinking it's pleasurable, but it's honestly, it's really not. This is like a weird, wacky energy. I don't know. I've never felt like this. I'm feeling like, okay, so I know this person, right? They got this house, and it got basically, what is the term? Somebody died and it got passed on to them, right? And they can't even see how to redo this, right? Because they're so focused on what happened in that house at a young age. And they still look at that house as a burden instead of a blessing. And they don't even want to, again, redo the house. It's like, let me just fix it up a little bit. Enough for me to just come into the house, maybe do a few things here and there, but not really utilize the house for something new to build and flourish and maybe regenerate some money. You know what I mean? They can't get over these old wounds, and they really are sitting there somewhat like crying over hurt that happened there and the reminiscent time, but then at the sad time still somewhat like mourning and not wanting to let go of the items that are in that house. And this is what I'm feeling. If anybody can see, I'm getting like all red. I don't know. It's a weird energy. It's kind of like, let me do this. And then it's like, oh, hell no, I can't do this. You have a very deep hurt. And with this drum, it's almost like it reminds me of like the Native Americans, how they sometimes have these things and they actually go into like a trance from those beating drums or something from what I remember. I don't really know. I really wish I could tap into my Native American, spirituality and culture, but I don't have that much of it. But it's like you're going into this space and time of a illusion, but then not wanting to heal from it. It's a lot of confusion, and it's a lot of suppressed energy that really needs to come up. And I suggest that you go do something different. I was reading something and also was listening to this podcast that sometimes the best way to get out of our creative blocks is to do something else that you normally wouldn't do. For instance, like if you are a crocheter, right? And you knit and all this stuff, but for some reason you just stopped and like you just can't knit anymore. The best thing for that person to do would maybe try a different medium like painting, so they can just explore a different medium and actually forget all about what that project was. Somewhat letting it go, somewhat maybe even throwing that away, but disengaging from that activity where you're stuck at and doing something totally different, like on the total different spectrum. Go to a different place, and that can get your mind off of whatever you need to heal and whatever has been suppressing you. And if you don't know what's been suppressing you, again, like that's why people need to have vacations a lot of time, because it like rejuvenates your energy and allows you to have a a brand new perspective when you can go back to your project or whatnot. Kind of like me when I was making these cards, it was like, oh my God, I'm seeing the same thing over and over again. I had to take I thought I needed like a couple of days, but I really needed a couple of weeks. And I went back and I saw all these typos and shit. So I really think that for number twos, it's something that is, yeah, something with that sacral chakra. I really, really feel that it's like something from the childhood that is really suppressed that emotion. Really, I don't know if somebody told you something bad about you creating something or just something about you in general, or if something actually happened to you, but it is some repressed energy, and the tides need to come up. You gotta let it out and have some fun, because whatever this project you're doing is making you sick. It's making you feel sick. It's making you feel sick and tired. And it's like doing the same thing over and over again, just like that little drum that I was talking about. So do something new. Switch it up for number twos, and hopefully that can give you this new energy, so when you can go back to creating whatever you were trying to create, or even going back into the situation or that space and time that you're in, you can see with it for new eyes. And don't be afraid to just let it out, cry it out. And if you really can't, maybe you need to ask for help and ask somebody else to bring new eyes in to give you a new perspective, because sometimes we can't really, like, that wound is so deep and hurt that we can't really let that energy out without somebody triggering it. I'm like getting tongue-tied, but it's like sometimes like a balloon deflating, right? Sometimes if you really want that air to come out, you just need another tool like a needle and let it pop instead of waiting for it to deflate on its own. So try something new, number twos. I hope that resonates. Please let me know. Comment below. Let me know if your intuition guided you and this is something that you needed to hear. And check out the links below. My Patreon is up and running, and I help other creators find their creative niche and help remove blocks too. So yeah, if you like what you see, come back, subscribe, and check out my Patreon page, because you can win. Also, it can give you a chance to win these cards that I made, my gratitude attitude cards that I'm using right now, which I painted, the colorful ones. So yes, it's time for number 3. Okay. So it's some burdens. Okay. This one is very easy. All right. So you can't get your emotional fulfillment yet. You can't feel, happy until you let go of these burdens that you've been carrying. I don't know if you're an entrepreneur or something like that, where you're moving a lot and just have a lot of responsibilities on your plate, and it's blocking your way from seeing straight, clear, and direct to your end goals. Also right here we have the habits you made to survive will no longer serve you when it's time to thrive. And this shows the warrior, which is be fearless and stand strong. Also, past energies. A lot of blocks, like I was saying, through number 1, 2, and now 3. A lot of blocks that we hold, especially creatively, they pretty much always have a root cause from when you were younger. And for instance, just by example, me personally, I'm sure if you're watching this video, I'm sure you know about manifestation and how money beliefs sometimes don't allow you to receive money. And for me, I grew up poor and I always heard, we don't have enough money. And that was a very root cause for me to feel like I had to sacrifice a lot to get what I wanted. It also, just feeling like I wasn't worthy to get certain stuff. So it kind of like even caused anger. Like, I deserve this stuff and why can't I have it? And it's like all these negative emotions that I didn't need was pretty much blocking my attraction um, to receive those blessings, to receive those funds, I'm not saying I'm perfect, like I got it down pat yet, but I've definitely been doing some work on myself to understand that a lot of times we need to rest. Like, you're so used to forming these habits because you made to survive. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're out here hustling and bustling and doing all this stuff, but you may have caused some type of dis-ease in your body. You might have caused yourself to get sick. Stress does so much damage to your body. You don't even know or understand how it can. It can affect you mentally. It can affect you emotionally. It can affect you physically. It can affect you all the above. And it really affects your performance, most definitely. And you don't feel fulfilled anymore. You don't feel emotionally fulfilled because your emotional fulfillment is trying to create this project, but you're so used to carrying such heavy loads and burdens from other people, from yourself, from maybe just all these beliefs that you may have had, and just putting on this facade, that feeling that like I'm strong is like what makes you survive. But really, what's the being strong is really that energy that comes from within, to realize the truth and to have that self-care and say it's okay for myself to take a break. Sometimes I know somebody that thinks that doing things all the time makes them strong. Like it's like, oh, I have my whole plate filled, so that makes me strong. That makes me able to deal with whatever. But who are you really performing for? Who are you really trying to show your strength to? Who are you trying to prove that to? I think it's time for a new leaf. I think you really need to just take a look at yourself and be strong and understand why you're running, why you're carrying all this baggage, and really sit down with yourself and have an honest conversation on why you're running from change and why you're not being strong enough to make the change and make the change to thrive, because the habits you made to survive will no longer serve you when it's time to thrive. One more thing. I was talking about ego to my friend the other day, and they're like, oh, thinking that egotistical is just this pompous type of person. An asshole, basically. But not necessarily. Ego can work in your favor sometimes, but ego really hinders you because of the fact that it becomes this like shield that you put up. And it's because you didn't feel safe or strong enough to survive. It's a survival mechanism that when you were younger, you felt that you had to put this shield up to feel safe and survive, right? And as we grow, if that need doesn't get met, then the shield gets thicker and thicker and thicker. And then we wear so much masks for that ego. We think that we are these masks now. And it's like, well, I have to do this because so back in second grade did this. And you keep saying that in your mind, and you're like 30-something, 40-some years old, not even knowing that it all started from from second grade. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we attract certain situations and scenarios as well. You know, if you got bullied or something like that, you know, like you hold on to that and then it's like, well, I have to be like this so people don't think I'm weak. You know, I used to think that I had to act a certain way, so people didn't think that, you know, didn't take my kindness for weakness. I felt like at one point in time I had to be like a bitch or mean or whatever because people was taking advantage of my weak my kindness a lot of times. But that's not the case. That's not the case. What the case was is that I didn't speak up, and I didn't even know how to speak up back then. And it just carried out, and I never was able to voice myself in a way that didn't make me feel bad because I cursed somebody out, or didn't make me feel unheard because I didn't say anything to tell those people no, to tell those people I don't fucking think so. You know what I mean? To speak my mind at that time. So all I'm saying is that number threes, if you can just think of some things that you've been doing out of survival mode, out of instincts, and out of just going. Sit down and take time to just rest. You know, meditating is not for everybody, but there are different types of meditations. And sometimes meditation, there's multiple meditation music that you can type in YouTube and listen to while you're washing dishes or clothes, or just sitting still by a pond, by a tree, or in a chair in your home. That can also be meditation as well. You know, there's sleep meditation that actually taps into your brain waves while you're sleeping. There's a lot of things that you can do to rejuvenate, but I really think that you need to look more about your self-care and self-love and setting boundaries with other people so that the same things won't keep happening. And you can actually break free from any cycles that aren't helping you, that are burdening you, that are, you know, pushing you backwards, and actually letting those things go and moving forward. All right. So that's what I have for my number threes. I really, really hope that these messages come clear because I really wanted to do this a lot, but I had a lot on my plate and I was trying to force some things my daggone self, and that's why I wasn't able to upload the daggone videos. So now that I finally am, I just want to say, check out my Patreon page. I am starting that. I wanted to give a platform for us creatives, for me to help people to find their creative niche, to find their creative spirit, as well as expand anything and remove any stagnant energy and blocks that are keeping people from creating and finishing their end goals. If you like my style, if you like what I'm doing, please subscribe and continue to see. Check out Patreon below, as well as my new cards. They're on sale. I created them. These are the ones that I used. And you can actually have a free deck of these if you check out my Patreon page and read between which tiers, if you can, you know, do that. It allows you to experience some of my services for a lower price. Patreon is very flexible too. So, you know, if you don't stick with me for a whole 6 months or 12 months, you know, however long it's going to take me to finish my creative process, it's okay. But at least you're there and you're getting some, you know, some feedback on your creative endeavors, and getting direction, and getting some healing, getting some meditation and rejuvenation. And check all that out, because I also have gifts that you guys can get in return as well. And one more thing, I don't know, like and comment and let me know how this resonates. I really can't remember, but I was trying to keep this short. So I'll see you guys next time, next video.